There comes a time in every chosen one's journey where the path becomes almost unbearable. Not because you are weak, not because you are failing, but because you are being transformed. The hardest moments in your life are not punishments. They are initiations. They are the fires that burn away illusion, the storms that tear apart everything that is not truly you. And if you are watching this, if you feel deep inside that you were meant for something greater, then you already know this path is not for the faint of heart.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
No one speaks about the loneliness, the betrayals, the crushing weight of responsibility that comes with awakening. No one prepares you for the moments when you will question everything, when you will feel like giving up, when the very fabric of your reality will begin to collapse. But these moments, these 7 hardest moments, are the very things that shape you into who you are meant to become. And most people don't survive them. Most people turn back, retreat into the safety of mediocrity, because they do not realize that the pain is the doorway. The suffering is the passage. And if you can endure, if you can push through, if you can surrender to the process without breaking, you will emerge as something unrecognizable, something unstoppable. The first and most brutal test every chosen one faces is the moment of isolation. The day will come when you realize that you no longer resonate with the people around you. The conversations that once excited you will feel empty. The places that once felt like home will feel foreign. And the people you once called friends will slowly begin to fade away. This is the moment where everything shifts, where the universe begins to separate you from the illusions you once clung to. And it is terrifying, because as much as you crave growth, as much as you desire to step into your higher self, there is a part of you that fears being alone. And this is where most people fail, because they mistake isolation for punishment, when in reality it is preparation. The universe is not taking people away from you. It is clearing space for those who are truly aligned. And if you resist, if you cling to what is no longer meant for you, you will only prolong your suffering. The question is, will you trust the process, even when it feels like you have no one left? Then comes the moment of doubt. The moment where everything you once believed begins to crumble. You will question your purpose. You will question your path. You will question whether any of this is even real. Because awakening is not a straight line, it is a spiral, a constant cycle of death and rebirth. And just when you think you have figured it all out, the universe will throw you into the unknown once again. This is the hardest part for most people, because the mind craves certainty. It wants to believe that once you awaken, everything will make sense. But the truth is, the more you awaken, the less you know. The deeper you go, the more you realize how much is hidden. And this is where many chosen ones fall. They give up, they settle, they retreat back into the illusion, because the uncertainty is too much to bear. But what if I told you that doubt is not a sign that you are lost? What if I told you that doubt is proof that you are on the edge of something greater? Because the truth is, the ones who push through the doubt, who embrace the unknown instead of fearing it, they are the ones who reach levels of power that others cannot even comprehend. And then, just when you think you have made it through, you face the moment of betrayal. Someone you trusted, someone you loved, will turn against you. Maybe it will be a friend. Maybe it will be family. Maybe it will be someone you never expected. And it will break you in ways you didn't think possible. Because betrayal is not just about losing someone, it is about losing the version of yourself that believed in them. It is about realizing that not everyone is meant to walk this path with you, that some people were only ever meant to be lessons. And this is where many chosen ones harden their hearts. They close themselves off, they build walls, they refuse to trust again. But what if I told you that betrayal is one of the greatest gifts the universe can give you? Because in that moment, you are given a choice. Will you allow this pain to make you bitter, or will you allow it to make you wiser? Will you use it as fuel, as a reminder that not everyone is meant to see your vision, that not everyone is capable of walking beside you? And then, just when you think you have nothing left to lose, you will face the moment of complete surrender. The moment where everything falls apart. The moment where you hit rock bottom and realize that nothing is in your control. Maybe it will come through loss. Maybe it will come through failure. Maybe it will come through a moment so painful that it feels like your soul is being ripped apart. And in that moment, you will have two choices: fight or surrender. Most people fight. They resist. They cling to their old ways, their old beliefs, their old identity, trying desperately to hold on to something that is already gone. But the chosen ones, the ones who truly rise, are the ones who surrender. The ones who let go completely, who allow themselves to be destroyed so that they can be rebuilt. Because the truth is, the universe is not trying to break you. It is trying to strip away everything that is not truly you. And the only question that remains is, will you let it? Will you trust that even in your lowest moment, you are being guided towards something greater? But just when you think you have made it through the worst, you will be handed the moment of responsibility. The moment where you realize that now others are looking to you. That now you are the guide, the teacher, the one who must hold space for those who are still lost. And this is where many chosen ones hesitate. Because the truth is, power is heavy. It is one thing to walk this path for yourself. It is another to walk it knowing that others are watching, that your words, your choices, your very existence is now shaping those who come after you. And this is where the final test comes. Will you step into your role, or will you shrink from it? Will you embrace the responsibility, or will you run from it? Because the truth is, not everyone is meant to lead. Not everyone is meant to carry the weight of wisdom. And the ones who do, they are the ones who change the world. And finally, after all of this, you will face the moment of realization. The moment where you look back at everything, the isolation, the doubt, the betrayal, the surrender, the responsibility, and you finally understand it was all necessary. It was all leading you here. It was all shaping you into the person you were meant to become. And in that moment, something shifts. The pain no longer feels like suffering. The losses no longer feel like punishment. Because you finally see the bigger picture. You finally understand that every single thing you went through was part of the initiation, part of the preparation for something greater. And when that moment comes, when you finally see yourself for who you truly are, the only question that remains is, what will you do with this power? Will you rise, or will you retreat? Will you embrace your destiny, or will you let fear hold you back? Because the truth is, you were never meant to be ordinary. You were always meant to be something greater. The only question is, are you ready to step into it? The breaking point why every chosen one must be destroyed before they can rise. There is a moment in every chosen one's path where everything collapses. Not just externally, but internally. The things that once made sense no longer do. The identity you carefully built over the years begins to disintegrate. The relationships you thought would last forever start to fade, and the world you once found comfort in turns against you. It is not subtle. It is not gentle. It is a force so relentless, so merciless, that it feels like the universe itself is trying to crush you. And in a way it is, but not to punish, not to destroy for the sake of destruction. It is happening because the version of you that you have outgrown can no longer exist. The life that you were living is too small for who you are meant to become. Most people break under this pressure. They beg for things to go back to the way they were. They resist, they fight. They try to hold onto fragments of their old reality, desperately hoping that if they just try hard enough, that the storm will pass and they can return to normal. But there is no going back. Not after this. Because the truth is, this breaking point is not something happening to you, it is something happening for you. What feels like destruction is actually refinement. What feels like chaos is actually precision. You are being stripped of everything that is false, everything that is weak, everything that is built on illusion, so that only the strongest, purest version of you remains. There is no shortcut through this, no way to bypass the pain. It is raw, it is brutal, and it will stretch you beyond anything you thought you could endure. You will feel abandoned. You will feel forgotten. You will wonder if you have been cursed, if this is some kind of cosmic mistake. Every chosen one faces this. Every great soul in history has walked through this fire. And those who rise from it, they are never the same. They are the ones who carry something in their eyes that others don't. A knowing, a depth, a presence that cannot be faked because it was earned in the darkness. But here is where most fail. They think the breaking point is the end. They assume that because everything is falling apart, they have lost. They do not realize that this is where the real transformation begins. When there is nothing left to hold on to, when the old identity is gone, when the ego has shattered and there is no more pretending, this is where the real you is revealed. And what is left after the breaking? A version of yourself that cannot be broken again. A mind that has faced its worst fears and survived. A heart that has been ripped apart and still beats with purpose. A spirit that no longer seeks validation because it has found something greater, an unshakable knowing of who and what it truly is. But the process is not over yet. After the destruction comes the void, the space between what was and what will be. This is the hardest part for most people because it is silent. It is empty. There are no signs, no clear direction, no immediate answers. Just an endless waiting, an unbearable nothingness where the old life is gone but the new one has not yet arrived. And this is where many lose hope. They assume they have failed. They assume they have been forgotten. They mistake stillness for stagnation, unaware that this void is where the rebuilding happens. It is in this emptiness that the new foundation is laid. It is in this silence that the new path begins to take shape. Most people cannot handle this space, so they try to escape it. They rush into distractions, into relationships, into anything that will numb the feeling of being lost. But those who are truly chosen, those who are meant to rise, they stay. They sit in the discomfort. They allow the emptiness to do its work. And slowly, something shifts. A new awareness begins to emerge. A strength that was not there before. A clarity that was impossible to see in the chaos. And then, almost without warning, the new life begins to appear. Not all at once, but in pieces. A new opportunity shows up. A new vision takes form. A new version of yourself steps forward, one that is no longer bound by the limitations of the past. And when this moment comes, when the storm has passed and the dust has settled, you will look back and realize that none of it was random. That every loss, every betrayal, every painful ending was necessary. That the breaking was not a punishment, but a rebirth. And the only reason you survived it was because you were meant to. Because there was something inside you that refused to stay small, something that refused to be ordinary. And now, standing on the other side, you see it clearly. You were never meant to fit into the world as it was. You were always meant to create something new. But the story does not end here, because now comes the true test. Now that you have risen, now that you have stepped into your power, now that you have something real, what will you do with it? Will you retreat into comfort, now that the suffering has passed? Will you shrink back into the background, afraid of what it means to truly stand in your truth? Or will you step forward fully, unapologetically, knowing that you are no longer just a student of life, but a force that shapes it? Because here is the final truth. The breaking point was never about you. It was about what you would become for others. Every hardship, every lesson, every moment of suffering was not just for your own growth, it was for the people you will one day guide. Because just as you once searched for answers, just as you once needed someone to remind you of your strength, there are others who will need you. And when that moment comes, when you meet someone who is breaking the way you once did, you will understand why you had to go through it. Because you will see yourself in them. And you will know exactly what to say, exactly how to hold space for them, exactly how to show them what no one showed you. And that is when you will realize the greatest truth of all, that this journey was never just about surviving. It was about becoming. It was about transformation, about stepping into a version of yourself that is unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. And from this place, nothing can break you again. Because you have faced the worst, you have lost everything, and yet here you are stronger, wiser, more powerful than ever before. And the only question that remains is, now that you have risen, Now that you have become everything the world tried to destroy, what will you do with this power? Because the world is waiting, and it is time. The warrior's choice: why true power is not given, but earned in fire. There comes a time when survival is no longer enough. When rising from the ashes is not the final victory, but merely the beginning. The true test is not in the breaking, it is in what comes after. Because now, standing on the other side of destruction, you are faced with the most important decision of all. What will you do with the power you have gained? Most people never make it here. They get lost in the pain of their past, trapped in cycles of healing that never truly end. Always recovering, always searching, always waiting for some final sign that they have made it. But the truth is, there is no sign. No moment where the universe announces your arrival. No grand confirmation that you are finally ready. There is only the choice. The choice to step forward, to take everything you have been through and use it not just for yourself, but for something greater. And this is where most hesitate, because stepping into power is far more terrifying than suffering. Pain is familiar. Pain is safe. But power, true power, demands something from you. It demands that you stop hiding, that you stop making excuses, that you stop pretending you are anything less than what you were always meant to be. But power is not given. It is not handed to you by some higher force, not granted because you have suffered enough. Power is something you become. It is earned not in light, but in fire. And the fire does not care about your comfort. It does not care about your fears, your doubts, your need for reassurance. It only asks one thing: are you willing to step into the unknown without hesitation, without certainty, knowing that once you do, there is no turning back? Because real power does not come from knowledge alone. It does not come from books, from teachings, from waiting for the right moment. It comes from the willingness to act. To take the wisdom you have gained through suffering and turn it into something unshakable. But here is where the greatest battle begins. Because the moment you decide to step into your true self, the world will resist. Not because you are wrong, not because you are unworthy, but because most people cannot handle what you are becoming. The moment you stop playing small, the moment you stop apologizing for your strength, you will trigger something in others. You will become a mirror, reflecting back everything they have been avoiding. Some will be inspired, some will rise with you, but many will turn away. Some will try to pull you back, to convince you that you are changing too much, that you are losing yourself. But the truth is, you are not losing yourself, you are becoming yourself. And anyone who cannot see that was never meant to walk with you into this next chapter. This is the moment where most fail. Not during the suffering, not during the breaking, but here at the threshold of power. Because stepping into your full potential means letting go. Letting go of the need to be understood. Letting go of the desire for validation. Letting go of the illusion that the people who were with you in the past will always be with you in the future. Because the truth is, not everyone is meant to come with you. Some people were only ever meant to be lessons. Some were only ever meant to walk with you for a season. And the ones who cannot accept your growth, They were never truly with you. They were only with the version of you that made them comfortable. But this is where the real power lies. Not in seeking approval, not in proving yourself, but in the absolute certainty that you are enough, exactly as you are. That you do not need permission to step into your greatness. That you do not need anyone to tell you that you are ready. Because the moment you decide that you are, you are. And this is what most people will never understand. They wait, they hesitate, they spend years preparing, but never arriving. And in the end, they die with their power still inside them, never fully realized, never fully expressed. But the ones who rise, the ones who refuse to be held back by fear, they become something rare, they become unstoppable. But true power is not just about standing alone. It is not just about becoming something great for yourself. Real power is in what you do with it. Because now, with everything you have learned, everything you have endured, you carry something that others need. There are people out there right now who are lost in the same darkness you once faced. People who are being broken, who are questioning everything, who are standing at the edge of their own destruction with no idea that they are about to rise. And they need to see you. They need to see that it is possible. That survival is not the end goal. That there is something beyond the suffering. Because this is what the world does not tell you. That the ones who have been through the most, the ones who have suffered the deepest wounds, they are the ones meant to lead. Not because they are special, not because they are chosen in some mystical way, but because they are the ones who understand. They are the ones who have seen the darkness and refuse to be consumed by it. And that is what makes them dangerous. That is what makes them powerful. Because once you have faced your greatest fears, once you have lost everything and still found the strength to rise, there is nothing left to be afraid of. There is nothing left that can break you. And this is where the final test comes. Now that you have this power, now that you have become something greater than you ever imagined, how will you use it? Will you pull others up, or will you hoard it for yourself? Will you share what you have learned, or will you keep it hidden, afraid of what others might say? Because real power is not in what you gain. It is in what you give. And the ones who truly change the world are not the ones who seek power for themselves, but the ones who become the source of power for others. This is why the breaking was necessary. This is why you had to lose everything. Because without it, you would not be ready for what comes next. Without it, you would not have the wisdom, the strength, the clarity to stand in this moment and know, beyond any doubt, that you were meant for this. And now, standing here, with everything you have become, there is only one question left. Will you rise or will you retreat? Will you step fully into what you were always meant to be, or will you shrink back into the shadows? Because the world is waiting. Whether you realize it or not, there are people who need you to rise. People who are watching, who are searching for a sign that it is possible to survive what they are going through. And you are that sign. Not because you are perfect, not because you have all the answers, but because you have lived through the fire and come out the other side. And that is enough. The path of no return, why the chosen never go back to who they were. There comes a point when the past no longer fits, not in a nostalgic way, not in the way people outgrow old habits or drift from places they once loved, but in a way that feels like trying to wear a skin that no longer belongs to you. The things that once made sense, the beliefs that once held everything together, the identity that once felt so solid it all dissolves. And the most unsettling part? There is no way back. The door to the old life has closed, not because you ran from it, but because you became someone who can no longer exist in that world. This is the price of awakening. No one talks about this part. They speak of enlightenment as if it's a peaceful realization, as if stepping into your higher self is a gentle unfolding. But the truth is, there is violence in transformation. There is destruction in evolution. The person you used to be does not simply fade away, they fight for survival. The old self clings, begs, tries to pull you back into the familiar because it does not understand what is happening. And for a while, the temptation is there to go back to what was known, to shrink yourself just enough to fit into the spaces that no longer feel like home, to pretend, to play along, to act as if you are still the same. But you are not. And this is where the greatest grief comes. Not for the people you lost, not for the places you had to leave behind, but for the version of yourself that you buried. The one who believed in certain illusions. The one who found comfort in things that no longer hold meaning. The one who was small enough to fit into a world that no longer recognizes you. But grieving the old self is necessary, because without that grief, there is hesitation. Without fully letting go, there is resistance. And resistance is the only thing that can make this process unbearable. The universe does not allow the chosen to remain half awake. It does not tolerate indecision. Once you have seen the truth, once you have understood your power, there are only two choices: rise fully or collapse under the weight of your own hesitation. And this is where most get stuck. Not in the suffering, not in the breaking, but in the in-between. In the place where they know they are no longer who they were, but they are too afraid to step fully into who they are becoming. They hold on to fragments of the past, to old relationships, to old ways of thinking, hoping they can somehow keep parts of their former life while still moving forward. But this is not how it works. There is a reason the chosen are forced into isolation. A reason why everything familiar is stripped away. It is not a punishment. It is not cruelty. It is precision. Because if even one part of the old life remains, it will act as an anchor, pulling you back into a version of yourself that is too small for what is coming. And so the universe ensures that there is nothing left to hold on to. The friendships that no longer align dissolve. The career that no longer serves you falls apart. The distractions that once numbed you stop working. Everything that is not in alignment with who you are meant to be is destroyed, not because you are being punished, but because you are being prepared. And this is the part no one warns you about: the emptiness that follows. The space where the old life is gone, but the new one has not yet fully arrived. The silence. The unbearable quiet of standing in the unknown with nothing but your own presence. This is where most people break, not because they are weak, but because they do not understand that this space is necessary. That before the next level can reveal itself, there must be nothing left of the old. That this void, as painful as it is the birthplace of everything that comes next. But this is also where the true power emerges. Because once you stop resisting the emptiness, something shifts. The fear fades. The need for external validation disappears. The urgency to fill the silence with distractions dissolves. And what remains is something unshakable, or presence, a knowing. A version of yourself that does not need reassurance because it finally understands that everything it was searching for was never outside of itself. And when this moment comes, when the noise fades and all that is left is this raw, undeniable presence, the next chapter begins. Not with fanfare, not with some grand revelation, but with a quiet, unshakable certainty that you are ready. Not because someone told you, not because the world validated you, but because you have walked through the fire, sat in the void, faced yourself fully, and emerged as something that cannot be broken. But now comes the final test, the one that separates those who truly rise from those who hesitate at the threshold of their own power. Because now the world will call you back. The distractions will return. People from the past will reappear, sensing the shift, feeling the energy you now carry. And the temptation will be there to prove yourself, to show them what you have become, to seek recognition for the transformation they did not witness. But the chosen do not explain. The chosen do not waste energy trying to be understood by those who were never meant to see them. This is where the true power lies, in the ability to walk forward without looking back, in the refusal to shrink, to fit, to make yourself digestible for those who do not have the capacity to understand what you have become. Because the truth is, the ones who are meant to see you will see you. The ones who are meant to walk with you will find you. And the ones who are still trapped in their own illusions will fall away not because you rejected them, but because they were never meant to come with you. And so, the final lesson is this: there is no going back. Not because you are running, not because you are escaping, but because you have become something else entirely. And the world you are stepping into does not recognize the version of you that once was. It only sees who you are now, and who you are now is unshakable, unstoppable, a force that no longer needs permission to exist fully. And that is why the chosen never go back, because there is nothing left to go back to.